Hey, folks, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, hey, Rama. No, I was I was wondering in the case of no chairs, could we just have a discussion about core six maybe? So what do we wait for like another minute, and then if we don't have the co-chairs, we can just make this an informal meeting because I believe this is recorded anyway. He's clear. Speaking of, okay, great.
Hi, those that have joined. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes to see if anyone else is joining. We have a light touch agenda today, so happy to give the floor. Mainly our focus is, no worries, Thomas. Mainly our focus is what does November look like and what do we want to get out of towards the end of the year. So I'll give you a moment or two to dwell on that. And then I'll kick off. Okay, I don't think we're going to get many more in. So we have obviously IETF 121, I think it is, coming up at the beginning of November. So we will start to look at an agenda for that. Today we have, core 6 on the agenda, but also want to start thinking about what else might come up in the next. Sorry, Alex is just joining me in the room. Yes, come on, Alex. So, Thomas, do you want to kick us off with where we are with the core?
Sure.
How close we are in terms of NITS feedback? We really want to get moved towards last call by the end of the year, so that's what we're targeting towards.
Yes,
Before we move further,
you,
can I
Claire.
volunteer note taking? I always forget this. Alex, are you able to note take?
Yes.
Alex is volunteered to note take. He's voluntold. He's next to me, so it's
Can you hear me, folks? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So a bunch of us worked on core 6 over the last few days, and I believe it was Raphael who uploaded it via the automated system. So first thing I need to point out is that the automated system, which goes from a dot markdown converted to text and automatically uploaded, always crunches up the figures. So the figures have not changed. So if you see figure 1 and figure 2, or any of the figures, flow figures, looking really, crunched up and wrong. Just look at core 05, which is the same figure, same diagram. What we have had to do in the past is actually manually edit the text file before manually uploading it. So I think we just have to improve the automated submission system that the IETF has. But anyway, having said that, so the big changes in Core 6 is we've removed any mention of API 1 and API 3. And I think we're pretty conscious in not promising these API documents or promising any future work item. So we just say it's API 2. So that's first big change. Second big change, addition, courtesy of Alex, is the addition of the example code underneath each message type message flow. So if it's, for example, log assertion message, there's an example there. Alex also caught a bug, a bit of a bug in the sense that we forgot in some places to actually have the gateway G2 sign the receipt, for example, right? So that's I believe is corrected. So that's where we are now. From the last minor additions from the last IETF. Paul Hoffman went to the microphone, and I believe Ori also said the same thing, that nowhere did we say in the document that we expect the reader to have read the architecture document. So we've explicitly said now in like the first page, the reader is directed to the architecture document to read that first before reading this document. We added a few important references. I think the one that we've talked about but never actually add to the document is the MICA reference, which is the European Union regulation on tokens and so on. So that's a pretty important document, and we cited, I think, even the architecture, though we've never actually added that reference in SATP core. I think that's all we had. Alex and Rama, do you guys remember if there was anything else that we had to fix that was other than syntax?
Yes, from my side, there was also the UID change. So throughout the draft, we mentioned unique identifiers V2, but I updated that to be 4 just because of the constraints. With UIDs V2, you could only have something like 60 new UIDs in every 7 minutes, which wouldn't work for SATP. So we changed to UID V4. But other than that, not much more.
Thank you, Alex.
Okay, David Milman. David, is that related to your question on the mailing list about the labels no longer use underscore?
The labels, I was just wondering why it did that. It just flagged a lot of changes in the document.
I see what you mean. Yes, I think it was just for consistency. We had to choose one way or another, and just the consistency. And it'll trigger a lot of like these, changes. Yep, got it. And the first question you had was the diagram crunch. But we knew it was going to happen. I already sort of told Raphael, if you press the button, it's going to crunch up. But we pressed the button anyway.
I hope you're going to fix that.
Yes, we're gonna fix it.
And then Alex, you had something you wanted to add?
Yeah, by the labels, do we mean the fields from the messages?
David, could you provide a bit of context about what the feedback was? So just for Alex here.
About the labels.
I think. David?
Yes.
Sorry, Alex had a question in terms of the feedback around the labels.
Yeah, was it about the fields from each message in the SATP core draft, or was it something else? I'm not sure what labels we are.
I just was noting that taking out the underscores and all the labels caused a lot of differences in the document, which made it different. Sort of made it difficult to see what was really changed in the document.
So Alex, when you look at the draft, you can look at a diff that automatically compares the recent version to the last version. And because we did a global change, like there's a whole bunch of like little diffs that showed up. And so David had a hard time figuring out what was like just syntactic changes versus like major changes.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, some of the underscores might have been changed, especially from the messages, because we were inconsistent with casing. So we had snake case, which has underscore. We had snake and camel case combined into one, and we also had camel case. So just to keep things consistent, we also use camel case everywhere now for message fields.
Thank you, Alex. Rama, did you have something you wanted to add to that?
No. I thought I saw underscores in the Markdown files, but no underscores in the rendered documents. So, but anyway, Alex answered the question.
Thank you.
So I think that's sort of everything from my side, Claire. Probably the only thing worth mentioning is I think the group, the authors would like to have a working group last call in the coming IETF in Dublin, if that's possible.
That was going to be my next question, is how close to last call do we think we are? So if that is a call from the authors, then I'll pick up with Wes and get that process started, definitely. Something I'd like to put on the IETF agenda for November is, obviously, if we are approaching last call for this particular charter, is I think a topic that's dear to many people's hearts is what do we envision, what do we want to see in the next charter, and see if we can get recharter going. Being as we are obviously approaching last call, and I know that this first charter was limited by design, and a lot of the interesting, innovative stuff is currently marked as future scope. So I know there's a lot of interest in what that might look like, and a desire to steer that and scope that.
I see. So at the Dublin IETF, you're proposing we just have a discussion about future work items and without actually doing the rechartering, just discuss what we want to have in the new charter. Okay, yeah. No,
it would that's more of a wish list, start to scope rather than the actual charter itself. Okay. Let's start to formulate what we think that's going to look like. And then beyond that, that was the only thing I really had on the agenda for today. And we've got Dennis, yes.
It was some things related to core, but if we are still have other issues, then I can come back and ask the questions.
No, sorry, I thought we were done with core, so let's stay with core before we move on.
Two things. One is one that I put also in the queue. I mean, in the chat, there are some to-dos in the JSON. So what do we do about that? Is there any decision that we should eventually put in the architectural document? Or something that we have to somehow remove?
I can answer that, Dennis. So I also asked on the email thread what we should do about those, and the decision was that there was indeed a signature missing in the messages, which Thomas mentioned at the beginning of this call, and that's fixed now. It's just not in the most recently published draft, but the one that will come right after is going to have the to-dos fixed.
Excellent. And so that's covered. And the other thing is about section 14, about IANA. I think we should put eventually like a forward pointer, or eventually mention the fact that we should claim a URN for SATP. I think it makes sense. There are a lot of things that are defined here, gateways, the networks. I mean, there are plenty of structural concepts that I believe are key in what we are discussing, and the fact that we could have a URN SATP might greatly facilitate the definition of these things. I don't know, what do you think?
No, I think that's a great topic of. So we've kind of left that section blank because I don't know what to do. I think actually Wes is probably the right guy to answer that because he's involved, with work there. So, but you're right, Dennis. I think it's a good idea to have, if it's possible, to have a SATP URN. It would help us a lot.
Yeah, and for the moment, it could be just enough to have SATP as a URN. I mean, the namespace.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So that's good because I'm thinking section 14 is so the working group last call. I'm not saying it's independent, but this IANA thing is out of our hands. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the process is. So what we could do maybe, hopefully before Dublin, is just start discussing this on the mailing list.
Yep. And
so that come Dublin, people are aware that this thing is hanging. We've got to talk about, section 14.
Would you mind picking that up? So can I have a volunteer to pick that up as a conversation starter on the mailing list?
Yeah, I can do that. I can initiate it. Yeah,
that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah,
Obviously,
Thanks,
in the
Dennis.
IETF mailing list is God. These conversations are informal compared to the formal mailing list. So let's make sure that we have all of the relevant conversations happening there.
Super. Okay, I'll do that.
Brilliant. Thanks, Dennis. Really appreciate that. Rama, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly talk about the use cases. Thomas and I discussed, I think, a couple of months ago, or in fact, right after the last IETF meeting, that the use cases draft was also is kind of ready for last call, but we're a bit hesitant about that because we haven't actually received many reviews on it. So I don't know if we should go directly to last call without getting more reviews, or maybe that the last call will be the trigger for receiving more reviews. So I would like to ask your opinion, Thomas's, others.
So it's the latter on that one. Last call will trigger more reviews. My understanding is that it opens it up to a wider review pool.
Okay, so should we do that soon, Thomas?
Yes. Rama. Yeah. So definitely we want to do a working group last call for use cases document also in Dublin also. So 2 documents for working group last call, and it will trigger people to read. And I think that's the best course of action for use cases, because we've been asking people to read the use cases document and give feedback, but we haven't really received much feedback.
Yeah, ideally people would read the architecture document first, but this should be done soon after that.
How far off having the use case document ready for a last call do you think you might be, Rama?
There are no changes since the last IETF, and I haven't seen anybody ask any questions on the mailing list. The only thing there was Peter from Huawei had sent some links, and it's just on me to add those links to the draft. Other than that, I think the draft is complete unless somebody asks for revisions.
Fantastic. I'll check with Wes what the process is around that, but it might be that pushing something for a more formal review will start to get some feedback that we can then incorporate.
Yeah, that'd be great. I don't mind making changes. But I would really appreciate feedback.
Feedback is always welcome. Brilliant.
Rama, if you're going to update.
Anthony here.
Sorry, can we make sure we're using the queue for comments, just so I can make sure that we're all managing the call? Oh, there we go. No one's talking now.
How do we use the queue?
Anthony Culligan, sorry, you had your hand up.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Sorry, Rama, I did say I would make some suggestions for the use case document when we were in Vancouver, but unfortunately I was just so busy every day since then. So I'll resolve to try and get something in ASAP to you.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Thomas, did you have anything else to add on that?
Rama, if we're going to update the use cases document, the IETF cutoff date for this Dublin is October 18th. So we need to upload it before 18th, which is in about 10 days.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for the reminder. Yeah, if Anthony has any comments before that, I'll try to incorporate it. Otherwise, I'll just do a sanity check, maybe add some links as needed and upload a draft before that. Thanks. Yeah, that's all from me, Claire.
Brilliant. Thank you, everyone. I had nothing else on the agenda, so if anyone's got anything to add or would like any other business, then now is the time to put your hand up. Otherwise, I'll give everyone 40 minutes back of their day and we'll see you in November. Anthony.
Yeah, one of the things we discussed briefly in Vancouver was the idea of a sort of hackathon for people sort of demonstrating that they can use the protocol. Is that something that we're still interested in?
I believe the call was that if people were having a hackathon, or if anyone knew of anyone that was using the draft to welcome feedback. I don't think a hackathon is anything we're actively looking at hosting, but certainly can add that to the agenda if that's something that you're interested in, Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be good. I think it would be a great way to sort of really, road test it. I think that there's been some good work done on the, I think on linking it to Cactus and everything, but I think it would be great just to open that up at some point. I'm just puzzled. I'm not being that experienced in this. I think we talked about it informally, but how would that go about happening? What would be the steps to make that happen?
I imagine it would, I mean, without knowing exactly the answer, but I imagine it would need some kind of sponsor. I don't think that's something that the IETF necessarily would host. But like I said, I'm not the expert in that. That is a Wes's area of expertise. So I'll raise it with Wes and we'll see. If not, certainly we can add it to the agenda to discuss for IETF. 121.
All right, thanks. Sorry, that was it for me.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. Yeah, good point. I'll get that raised. Fabulous. Any more? Any other comments, thoughts, or ideas? No. Okay. So the actions I've got, couple with me in terms of double checking with Wes and getting answers in terms of the last call and what the process is around that, the hackathon, as well as obviously putting together the agenda for 121, which I'll do with Wes anyway. And then Dennis, I believe you took the action to start the call for the IANA considerations, so SATP or URN in section 14. And then I think Rama
yes.
and thank you. And then Rama and Anthony are going to carry on collaborating on the use cases document. Brilliant. Thank you so much, everyone. John, thank you for the feedback. That's lovely in the chat. And I will speak to you very shortly. Oh, Rama, did you have something else to add?
No, I was just going to say bye.
Okay, good to see you. Well, it's good to hear your voice. And I'll speak to you in a couple of weeks or 4 weeks. Cheers, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.